Alright, so I just watched Kung Fu Panda 4 and we are back in this franchise with the fourth installment with Jack Black who is back as Po, aka the Dragon Warrior who we all know and love, and especially with the entire story with Master Shifu, and even as we take a look at the story overall, I thought it was good, but at the same time, it is something else as well. And so this would be my official review for the film. Obviously, no spoilers, just going over what I thought, my impressions, and with the weak and the flaws that I have with this movie, and even talk about the villain and just so much more. And so if you're new here, then be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell so much on future vids like this and so much more. But now let's get into it. Starting with going into this movie, as we all know, with the Kung Fu Panda franchise, as we all know and love, especially from our childhoods, especially from the first one from 2008 all the way up until now. I mean, we've seen Po going on many adventures, especially with having this role as the Dragon Warrior, and even having the Furious Five by his side, and even with Jack Black, who portrays the character of Po perfectly, and he has what it takes, and even with the Kung Fu styles that he delivers throughout the entire franchise, it is sort of good. I think I enjoyed the first three movies, and it has all sort of heart to it, and especially by going into the fourth installment, and what the main premise of this movie is that with Po, who has to find the replacement to be the new Dragon Warrior to take the mantle on his side. But before he can do that, he has to defeat the Chameleon, who is the villain of this movie, played by Viola Davis, and we have Master Shifu back, played by Dustin Hoffman. But even with the addition of Aquafina and with her role in the movie as she has with Po as sort of going on this adventure, and that to defeat the Chameleon before someone else can take his place as the new Dragon Warrior. And now, even as I sat back watching the entire movie, I had a fun experience, and even like the animation and the way that the layout even looks, I just liked what they adapted, because it looks like sort of different, because again, this franchise was beloved by everyone, and even with the challenges that Po faces, especially for what he's about to face the Chameleon, and going on this adventure with the fox, and even like just like and also gathering this army for Po to face the Chameleon with, and like even like with the Chameleon, like she can shapeshift into any arch nemesis that Po has ever faced from the franchise, and the way that they do it, especially with the addition of Tai Lung, of course, who was the villain of the first movie, and even like as I take a look at the story overall, it's kind of missing some of that stuff that has been missing from the first three movies. But I generally liked all the action that it delivered with the addition of Poe's father, especially with his other dad as well. The main flaws that I have, I mean, again, I enjoyed this movie, but go into this movie and form your own opinion. But these are just my quick thoughts and my flaws. And the issue is that it's kind of missing that flair of what the other films hold, and especially with the kung fu of the fighting that like Po brings to this movie, it's sort of like missing some of that, and even with the obstacles that he faces along in this movie, along with Fox, and as he's trying to gather up this army, and I just liked the story, and I liked it a little bit. But as I sat there looking at it, it's sort of like missing that story, like missing that some sort of like thing that we all used to love in this franchise overall. But I still found it quite enjoyable, and with the rest of the cast and with the entire army that Po brings with them, it's sort of good, but at the same time, it's ordinary. Even with the villain, the Chameleon, played by Viola Davis, I thought she did a good job at portraying the main villain of this installment, and just putting Po up to the challenge. And like it's especially with everything that goes down, with the absence of the Furious Five that we all know, like it's sort of missing all of that. But like this is a completely new story with Po training someone to be the Dragon Warrior, but it's just an ordinary story. It's kind of missing that some sort of tone. But I just liked all the action it brought. But even towards the third act of the movie, it kind of gets better from here on out, and that's why I sort of into it. It's like a good story, but and I feel like what Poe brought to the table, what he brought, especially towards the end of the movie, I just like all the action scenes, and I had a blast, and it was really good. And also with other things that I want to highlight throughout the entire movie that was good, and that is with the army that Poe brings along with him, and you even with Kiwi Kwan who plays Han in the movie, I found to be a very enjoyable character, and especially I love Kiwi Kwan as an actor. I thought he did good, and even with the rest of the cast, especially with Ronnie Chang who plays the sort of character in this movie, but I found him pretty funny too. But I think everyone else did a good job in their roles. Even like as I sat there watching it, like scratching my head, like kind of thinking that like man, like this movie, it's kind of missing like some of that stuff, but it felt like a normal Kung Fu Panda movie, but it added some like certain layers that was unusual. Like even with the locations that with Poe and Fox visit in order to find the chameleon, and that was the sort of the stuff that I enjoyed. But I liked the story overall, but it was not the usual kind of taste. And even for what I love is especially as in near towards the third act, towards the end of the movie, we see Poe at his best, and he still brings all that charm, all that kung fu fighting, as near towards the end of the movie. But I won't spoil it what it is. But it's definitely good, and like I just liked how it brings all that story, everything that we know and love from this franchise, but even towards the end, as the credits roll, like there is a surprise towards the end, but I won't spoil what it is. Y'all have to wait and see the fight out in theaters. But I just like sort of like the movie. Overall, I thought it was good, and I just liked it from the beginning, middle, and end. And like really towards like in like the first 15 minutes of the movie, you really get to know who the villain is and how she is set up throughout the rest of the movie, and even with how Poe feels and Master Shifu like feel as they like go on this adventure and going through life, and how to deal with training the next Dragon Warrior. It's sort of good, but I just liked, I mean, like everything definitely resolves near towards the end of the story. And so for my final thoughts is, I enjoyed Kung Fu Panda 4. I thought it was a good story. I thought it was a good installment in the franchise that we all know and love. Again, like it was just missing that flair, and it was just like missing some things. But hey, I had a blast. I enjoyed the movie, and I enjoyed the chameleon played by Viola Davis. I thought everyone did a good job, and I love Jack Black as the voice of Poe, and I like how he portrays the character perfectly, and like because he is Poe, like, especially with that one like skadoosh. But I just generally like I like the movie, but it's definitely not the same as we love from this franchise. But like I mean, going into this movie and form your own opinion of when it comes on theaters, and just so much more as well. And so that's going to be it for this video, and just let me know what you guys' thoughts in the comments down below, and if you got around to seeing Kung Fu Panda 4, and let me know in the comments, and give me a rating to 1 out of 10. Don't forget to like the video, and subscribe, and turn on notifications about future videos, and also follow all my social media links down below. And with that, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.